Welcome to the National Speakers Association's Northwest Speaker Showcase. Let's give it up to your MC who was swimming at the Seattle Aquarium last night. Here's the lady in red, Devin Pasha!
Good morning, Northwest Event Show. I am Devin Pasha, your main stage MC for both days here at NWES 25, and I'm delighted to welcome you. Before we get started, a couple of words of thanks. Want to thank our friends in the back, TEP, who are producing all of the events here on the main stage, so thank you. Tech Event Pros. And then we want to thank our friends at Interprify, who are providing all of our live translations and closed captioning for all of the events at Northwest Event Show. Should you like to use the closed captioning features, please scan the QR code behind me, enter the codes that you see, select the language, and I'll give you all just a moment to do that. So most of you are already friends of the National Speakers Association, I can tell by all the hugs and loves and smiles in the room, but welcome for those of you who don't know. This is the NSA Northwest Speaker Showcase. This is actually the second level of a two-level speaker showcase. Level 1 happened just a few Saturdays ago, and I had the pleasure of being one of the 6 judges that helped decide all the speakers who moved on to speak at the Northwest Event Show. And let me tell you, I was blown away by the talent and transformation. It was truly one of the best experiences, and I hope you all see that in the transformation that you have today. Now, what I would love to do is to introduce you to the woman who put this entire thing together. Sonia empowers executives and organizations to lead with impact, navigate complexity, and accelerate growth. As a sought-after speaker, consultant, and coach, she has worked with Google, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta. Woo! Wonder if she ever gets a break. Her expertise and executive presence, strategic influence, and career advancement drives lasting leadership. Everyone, I am more than delighted to help welcome to the stage the dynamic dynamo herself, Sonia Price.
Thank you, Devin.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. How are you feeling, Northwest Event Show? Woo! I am super pumped to be here with all of you today. And we have an epic speaker showcase in store for you. Now, we come to you from the National Speaker Association, our Northwest chapter, where we have over 100 members, filled with keynote speakers, MCs, workshop facilitators, and consultants. And we are here to be your partners in the event industry. I know we all have our own unique contributions to the event industry. We're here as speakers, and we want to help you have flawless, amazing, memorable events. So let us know how we can partner with you to help make every event that you do shine if you need to have talent on stage with you. So I'd like to peel back the curtain just a little bit and share with you more about how this speaker showcase came to be. Now, as Devon said earlier, this is the second level out of 2 levels, and our first level happened a week and a half ago at the Broadway Performance Hall. And this is just a small slice of the cast of characters that we have at the National Speaker Association. And so we had 13 speakers that each gave 7-minute speeches. Now, I don't know if you have ever created a speech of any length, but generally the shorter it is, the harder that it is to create something and say something really profound. And our theme was called Speak Your Truth. And so as speakers, we're here to deliver our vision and our mission and to speak our truth and share our message with the world. And so that's what each of these 13 speakers shared with us. We also had 6 judges, coaches, and so many volunteers, because I know that you know, as meeting professionals, how much effort that it takes to pull off an event. So we had an entire tribe of people who helped make an incredible event. And we laughed, and we cried, and we even got people up and dancing, which for a live audience, when people are just sitting in their chairs all day long, it takes something to get people to stand up and dance. And we just had such a grand time together. Now, as Devon said earlier, she was one of our 6 judges. So Devon is standing immediately to my left right there. We also had Robin Denny, who some of you may know. She's a big player in the event industry. We had Jordan Babineau, who is a former Seattle Seahawks and Tennessee Titans NFL star. And then on my right is Chris Woods, who is an event technology expert, and I think is also walking around the show here. And then on the far right is Anna Liotta and Brian Walter. And they are two of our Hall of Fame speakers in our local chapter here. And it is an absolute honor and pleasure to have these folks as part of our local chapter, because to be a Hall of Fame speaker, that is a distinction that is only held by the top 1% of speakers worldwide. And we have a super special gift for you here today, because Anna Liotta is actually in the house with us here today, and she will be our keynote closing session today. So, yeah, give it up for Anna. So this was the 6 finalists. So out of the 13 speakers who spoke, our judges chose 6 finalists who are here with us as our showcase. And here at the Northwest Event Show, we had 3 of those folks speak yesterday, and we have 3 of those folks speaking today. And in addition to our finalists from level 1, we also had our program coaches. So this showcase actually started almost 3 months ago, where every single speaker was aligned with a professional speaker coach. So they got to work with amazing, seasoned speakers to perfect their message and elevate their stage presence, so that by the time that they got up at our level 1, and as well as level 2 here today, they had more stage presence, and we're all working on becoming better speakers. So we have our coaches. 3 of these folks spoke yesterday, and we have one speaking today, Don Crawley, who you will hear from in just a moment. And then Anna Liotta was on our judge team, as you know, and she's also here with us today. Now, I want to say thank you to each and every single one of you for your unique contributions to this industry. Because I know, having just planned a huge event, I know the sheer heroic effort that it takes to plan all of the details and make sure that everyone is in their place and the name tags are printed and this is done and that's done. So I now have a unique appreciation for this industry and what each of you do. I know that you plan for months at a time before a single participant steps foot on the venue. You make us all feel welcomed. You plan amazing meals for us to keep us fed, and you ensure that all the trophies arrive on time without a single nick, even though we know that you might be the one who deserves the biggest trophy of all. And we know that you pull off the event theme seamlessly, even though sometimes, in the midst of managing all of the details, you might actually feel a little bit like this sometimes. However, I know that you always have a smile on your face, because we're professionals, and that's what we do. So, in an attempt to express my gratitude to you, I actually created a little video skit that I would like to share with you. How many of you have seen the Barbie movie? I love the woos. That's great. Well, even if you haven't seen it, I'd like to set up a quick little skit, the skit for you here. So America Ferrera, that's her character here on the left side, and she gives an incredible, profound monologue to Barbie, where she's talking about the complexities of what it is to be a woman in today's modern world. That you have to be pretty, but you can't be too pretty. You have to be a leader, but you can't be too bossy. You have to be everything and nothing all at once at the same time. Now, when I heard this, it hit me, but it struck this huge chord with me, and it made me start to think about all of the different types of people in this world and the complexities of how difficult that it can be when you have such huge expectations on you that are sometimes very contradictory and relentless. So I created a little ditty for you, specifically for meeting professionals. This has nothing to do with gender. It's just for you in an attempt to say thank you and hopefully put a smile on your face. Let's roll.
It is literally impossible to be a meeting professional. You are resourceful and detail-oriented, yet somehow it's never enough. You have to create jaw-dropping, earth-shattering events. But don't you dare exceed the budget and forget about asking for more money.
That's right.
Because then you're not being practical. You must remain calm under pressure. Hold your ground with executives without coming across as difficult. You must curate the perfect menu for everyone, including gluten-free, vegan, nut-free, keto, paleo, and the I only eat grass-fed Wagyu elite. Honestly, I am exhausted. There is no trophy, no medal, and barely even a lukewarm thank you as they prance their way past you on their way to the after party that you planned, but probably won't get to enjoy. You're only left with the expectation that you will do it all over again next year, flawlessly.
Thank you. As an aspiring comedian, I do create these little video vignettes, so if you'd like to see a series of me playing different characters, please check out my YouTube channel. So thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you. And I would actually like to orchestrate a standing ovation for you. So if you have ever played any part in planning a meeting, managing a budget, whatever you name it, I invite you to stand right now. Whether you've managed a budget, you planned a menu, you are a videographer or a photographer, everyone is standing in the room, right? So please give yourselves a huge round of applause. And now I invite you to sit while our speakers stay standing, and we're going to do a reverse standing ovation for you, because how often do you get the standing ovation? So let's give them a huge round. Thank you all. My name is Sonia Price. I'm a keynote speaker, an MC, and a team facilitator, and I have had the honor and pleasure of working with some of the world's top renowned leaders and organizations. And leaders hire me to help them elevate their executive presence, land that promotion that they've been waiting for, and significantly increase their income. And I actually just launched my second book. It's called The Infinite Leaders Playbook. And this is an incredible tips and tools book. It's very easy to flip through. You can pick any page in it and quickly learn something about how to manage stakeholders more effectively, how to navigate office politics with ease, and how to be the kind of leader that has infinite lasting results. And this is my free gift to you. So after our event here today, I'm going to be standing at this table over on the far right. If you would like a book or maybe have me sign your book, please come over, check it out. I would love to give this to you. The other thing I'd like to mention is that all of our speakers will actually be coming up to these tables after the event. So if you'd like to engage with any single one of us, either the folks who are speaking today or the folks who spoke yesterday, this is an incredible opportunity to come and meet us. So we would like to connect with you. We want to collaborate with you. And so come up and talk to us afterwards. And if you need to leave early, please just drop your card in this box. Kai right here is going to take this box and put it by the back door. So, please collaborate with us. If you put your card in there, either myself or someone from our organization will reach out to you and connect to see how can we help support you in your meetings and events. Because chances are that we probably know someone who has exactly what you're looking for. So if you need a keynote speaker or an MC or someone who speaks on some random, weird, bizarre topic, chances are we know who that person is, because not only do we have our local chapter, we also have our nationwide association that has over 3,500 professional speakers. So let us know how we can partner with you and help support you. We're about to start to introduce our speakers, but before we do, we appreciate you so much for being here. And if you do need to get up and leave, my request is that you stand up while I'm talking. You have full permission to leave while I'm talking. But our speakers are here to get video and photos of them speaking on a big stage. So we're trying to keep all of the cameras clear so that we can create really good video and photos. So if you do need to get up and leave, no problem. But each speaker will be speaking for 7 minutes. We have 4 speakers that are speaking for 7 minutes, and then our final speaker will speak for 15 minutes. So just kind of keep that in mind if you need to get up and step out. Thank you so much. Thanks. So our first speaker is known as the author of The Compassionate Geek. Don Crawley is a tech guy, yes, but more than that, he's a people guy. He's built an entire career teaching IT professionals how to combine technical expertise with emotional intelligence, helping humans connect with humans, even when through a screen. Don is a certified speaking professional. This is a designation that's held by only 25% of all professional speakers. And he is an incredibly experienced speaker, and he knows exactly what meeting planners and audiences need to have a smooth, high-impact experience. Over the past several months, Don has served as one of our beloved speaker coaches in our entire Speaker Showcase program. And many of the phenomenal speakers that you've seen on stage yesterday and today have been directly supported, encouraged, and mentored by Don himself. Don has certainly given me some very valuable coaching to help me refine my stage presence as well. So please, help me give a huge, warm welcome to the one and only Don Crawley.
That's a scene that my children never want to see, is me dancing. I set my bedroom on fire. True story. When I was 12 years old, I was well into technology, and I decided to rewire an amplifier. So I rewired it, plugged it in, powered it up. There was a loud crack, and flames shot out, setting my bedroom on fire. Fortunately, my parents were able to douse the flames before they spread, because you can imagine that could have been a disaster. But as it turned out, everything was fine. So I've always been a geeky, nerdy kind of a guy. And tech has always come easy to me. When other kids were out playing baseball or football, I was more interested in climbing around inside giant pipe organs, trying to figure out how they worked. I'd hang out in electronics labs, peppering the technicians with an unending stream of questions about the various components. And in fact, I learned about a lot of the electrical components when I got shocked. Lessons not soon forgotten. So the tech has always been easy for me. But I noticed when I was in high school that the kids with the people skills got perks. They got the best dates to the dances. They got special treatment by administrators and teachers and even the other kids. And I decided I wanted those perks. The tech skills were easy for me, but the people skills were a whole other story. And I noticed when I started working in the workday in the workplace that the same phenomenon applied. I was working in advanced technical training, and yet the people with the people skills got the promotions. They got the special perks. They even seemed to have a knack for customer service. They were better at serving people than people who just had tech skills. And I began to wonder if maybe there were some observable, quantifiable differences that were present with the people who had the people skills, but were absent with the people who just had the tech skills. And so I just began observing, and it turns out that there's 5 characteristics that differentiate the people in the first group, the people who were leading satisfying, rewarding, fulfilling lives and careers and who had a knack for service, from the people in the second group who were often cynical and sarcastic and maybe even reclusive. And so I documented these characteristics, and I call them the 5 principles of customer service success. And principle number 1 is deep technical competence. You've got to be really, really good at whatever it is that you do, whether you're a meeting professional or an IT person, a police officer, a doctor, a lawyer, a carpenter, a plumber, a teacher. It doesn't matter. You've got to be really, really good at whatever it is that you do. You have to strive to be the best in the world at whatever it is that you do. Now, you may not achieve being the best in the world, but that's not the point. The point is in the striving. So principle number 1 is deep technical competence, striving to be the best in the world at what you do. Principle number 2 is compassion, and that's caring about other people. That's noticing someone who's hurting and wanting to help. It's recognizing that we don't know the other person's story, and if we knew it, maybe we'd treat them differently. It's wanting to do something to lift others up, to have them have a slightly better experience in this crazy game of life. So principle number 2 is compassion. Number 3 is empathy, and that's putting yourself in the other person's position. It's trying to see the world through their eyes. It's trying to imagine what they're going through, because sometimes you can't put yourself in their position, but you can try to imagine how you would feel if you were in their shoes. So principle number 3 is empathy. Number 4 is being a good listener. I think listening is one of the great gifts that we can give our fellow humans. To listen with the intent to understand and remember what's said. To listen in a way that makes the speaker feel heard and understood. To listen without jumping in with our own perspective and talking over the other person. So principle number 4 is listening. Principle number 5 is respect. Now there's 2 aspects to respect. One is how you feel about somebody based on what they say and do. They've earned your respect. But we're talking about the other form of respect. And that is how you act toward the other person. It's your behavior choices toward other people. You can treat people with dignity and respect even if you don't feel respect for them. You don't have to feel respect in order to have respectful behavior. So principle number 5 is the principle of respect. Now, as I was working on this, I realized that these 5 principles are the 5 basic principles of great customer service. No matter what field you're in, no matter if you're in IT or some other field, these 5 principles of competence, compassion, empathy, being a good listener, and treating people with dignity and respect are the 5 principles of customer service. But I realized that they're way more than that. These 5 principles certainly are the 5 principles of customer service, but they could also heal this very broken world in which we live if we just treat people with these 5 principles. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, gosh, I'm one person. I can't change the world. And yet maybe you can, because if you treat one person with dignity and respect, you use your competence to solve problems for them, maybe that lights a flame. And unlike the flame in my bedroom when I was 12 years old, this is a flame that spreads. And maybe when you treat a person with compassion, you light a flame of compassion. You treat a person with empathy. You put yourself in their position. You light a flame of empathy. You listen to somebody. You listen in a way that makes them feel heard and understood. You light a flame of listening. And you treat someone with dignity and respect, even if you don't feel that way toward them. You manage your behavior to treat them with dignity and respect, and you light a flame of respect. And maybe if you treat a person that way, they treat another person that way, who treats another person that way. And that flame starts to go all the way around the world, touching people that you can't even imagine, people who you don't know, people who will never know you, and yet your actions, your choices made a difference for them. All the way around the world, all because you lit a flame. And that's how to be a compassionate geek.
Crawley.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Don, thank you so much. That was a great talk.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what we're going to do right now is, as a thank you to each and every speaker who comes up on stage here, if you enjoyed what Don had to talk about, which I personally got a ton out of, I invite you to pull out your phone, scan this QR code, and provide some feedback for Don. You'll be asked a series of short questions, and then you can give a comment. And all of us speakers love hearing feedback. So if you love what we talk about, or you feel like maybe there's something that could have been improved upon a little bit, we'd love to hear that because we like to give you a better event experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So while you're filling out the feedback for Dawn, I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Uh-oh.
So, one thing is, I think everybody who participates in the event industry, no matter what they're doing, they have played many different roles all at the same time, right? Sometimes they have to be a tech translator, a team builder, and maybe even a therapist at various different times, right? As a communication expert, what would you say are some of the key crucial skills when you're talking to a variety of different types of audiences?
So, if you mean from the stage?
Yeah, it's like, I know you talk to, in my mind, what could be some of the most challenging people to talk to. Like
IT people, they're charming. Are you kidding?
Tech people, not to, not to stereotype or anything, right? But what are some key skills that we can use to talk to various different audiences?
Sure. So I think, first of all, you have to respect the audience. And you as meeting professionals do that as well by the choices that you make. Well, we as speakers also have to do that through the choices that we make. So you have to respect the audience. You need to listen to what they say. The great speakers will often spend as much time listening to audience members as they do talking to them. And so you listen and you learn what's important to them. And you have to work on your craft. You have to understand that there are certain things to do as a speaker and certain things not to do. And so you work on it. It's a continual process of honing your skills.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say if you're dealing with, let's say, a difficult personality? That maybe things are getting lost in translation and maybe you personally are getting a little bit frustrated.
Yeah.
How can we still deal with the other party with dignity and respect?
It's behavior choices. I mean, people, myself included, get into emotionally charged situations, and sometimes when we're in an emotionally charged situation, our emotions take over and they start managing us, and we have to take a breath and remember that we're in charge. We have to manage our emotions rather than letting them manage us. So if you're dealing with somebody who's difficult, and let's face it, y'all, in IT, we deal with difficult people, but nothing compared to what you deal with in setting up meetings. I mean, I want to acknowledge that. And so in those situations where you're dealing with somebody who's being difficult, first of all, try to give them some grace, recognize that you may not know their story. Something terrible may have just happened to them right before the encounter with you. So give them some grace and then take a deep breath and try to maintain your calm and see if you can help them.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Don.
Thank you, Sonia.
Really appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service as being one of our coaches for the Speaker Showcase program.
It was an honor.
Yeah. All right, Don
thank
Crawley, everybody. Our next speaker is about to challenge everything that you thought you knew about alignment, wellness, and living a truly badass life. Heather Yancey is a powerhouse in the world of fitness, midlife wellness, and empowerment. She is a renowned fitness expert, alignment practitioner, and menopause specialist. And she's the founder of the Menopause Strength Society and the host of the Badass Reset Club podcast. She has hiked rim to rim in the Grand Canyon, completed the New York City Marathon 3 times, and is a full-blown Ironman. Heather's ladder effect framework will show you why true alignment between your physical wellness, mental health, and sense of purpose is the key to unlocking your full potential. So brace yourselves for brilliance, and please help me welcome to the stage Heather Yancey.
Thank you.
That is on me. So sorry. I clicked the slide twice, so apologize. That's the beautiful walk-on music.
Thank you. I was on a ladder the day that I got the call. Hello? He did? Oh, God. How had it been just 1 week before that I traveled to see my dad, and as he lay there, dying in his bed, he stared at the corner of the room. So I asked him, Dad, what do you see? No, I was expecting some big revelation, angels and bright lights. But what he said changed everything for me. I don't know how I got here, he said. Okay, that ladder, the good news is I didn't fall off, but it got me thinking about the proverbial ladders that we stand on when something life-altering happens. And as I sat there with my dad staring at the corner of the room, it hit me. He was talking about how he didn't understand how his life just passed him by, almost without permission. And this got me thinking about the ladder effect. You see, there are 3 key rungs when it comes to alignment in life: your physical wellness, your mental health, and living your purpose. And when those things are in alignment, you are thriving. So if I offered you a blueprint, a manual, here's exactly what to do, would you take it? Let me see, who wants it? I've got 3 tips today that are going to help you to align strong. So let's dive in. Number 1, you are going to rewrite your I am stories. I am, it's the shortest sentence in the English language, and yet so powerful. So let's break this down. We say things to ourselves a lot. They might sound like, I am tired. I am so out of shape. I am working so hard, and I am still not getting where I want to be in my career. If any of those sound familiar, it's because we do this all the time. So instead, we are going to rewrite those I am stories. So it might look like this. I am vibrant, and I am working on my sleep hygiene, and I'm really doing a good job. Or, I am someone who works out. Or, I am a capable leader who's a very fast learner. The way that we change these things around and rewrite these stories forge new neural pathways in our brains. And they help us to become who we truly are. You want to put that fitness routine into a daily actionable plan? Great, here's what you do. You use this I am rewrite. So when that alarm goes off in the morning, you don't hit snooze. No, you get up. I am someone who shows up for myself. I am someone who plans ahead. I lay on my clothes. I am gonna show up and get that dopamine hit I get from that morning workout. It's these stories that will help us to go where we want to go. Visualizing the person that you want to be, it starts with the way that you see yourself, how you believe in yourself, and most important, how you speak to yourself. Number 2, I want you to say, screw my goals. What? Did you know that goals are an often unsustainable, unfulfilling practice? It's the reason why we have hundreds, if not thousands of people who set a goal on January 1, and why we have National Quitters Day on January 19th. That's not even 3 weeks apart. And why is this? It's because the approach is wrong. So what are we going to do instead? You're going to screw your goals, and you're going to set expectations. See, goals are great for outlining what needs to be done, a little checklist, but setting expectations, that's where we get the behavioral changes needed to get there. You know, after working in the wellness industry for the last 2 decades, I can tell you that I have seen so many people set goals. And what do they rely on to set those goals? Do we know? What do you rely on when you're setting a goal? Motivation. But I'm here to tell you, motivation is a fickle biatch. Instead, we're going to set those expectations. So here's what it might look like. You might say to yourself, I'm going to lose 10 pounds before I go to Mexico next month. But when you set the expectation, if I get to the gym 3 times this week and I eat more vegetables and my protein and get all my fiber, I'm going to be feeling so good in Mexico next month. Or instead of, I am going to meditate for 60 minutes every day, you're probably not. set the expectation. If I download a guided meditation app and I use it 2 to 3 times this week, my meditation practice is really going to grow. We can do these things by changing our expectations. Number 3, meaningful momentum. Meaningful momentum is not just moving forward. It's moving forward with purpose. It's not just checking off a box, but doing and building something that's bigger than you. It's constantly evolving, growing, learning, not because you have to, but because something inside you is calling you for more. When we are working on meaningful momentum, it looks like this. You're getting up in the morning with intention. You're moving through your day with clarity, and you're going to bed at night, not just existing, but actually living. This is where we create truly badass lives and organizations that thrive. This carries all the way through. That way, when you get to the end, you're not just climbing a ladder. You're actually building a ladder that leads you to where you want to go. Because every step has meaning, and every move has purpose. Thank you.
Give it up for Heather Yancey.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, boy. Thank you. All right. So if you would please pull out your phone, scan the QR code, can give some wonderful feedback for Heather in this amazing talk that you just gave. There'll be a few questions for you to answer, and then you can write out a specific testimonial or some sort of comment that you would like Heather to know from you personally. So Heather, while they're doing that, I'm just gonna ask you a few questions here.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, a lot of people who work in the event industry, constantly on the run, or you show up at the venue, you thought you were gonna be there a couple hours, you end up being there for 12 hours, right? How can we eat more healthy on the run?
Oh my gosh, that is such a good question. This is something that I think that we run out the door and we think, I'll get it when I'm there, I'll handle it later. And I know this from experience. Mm-hmm. You're gonna feel terrible throughout the day unless you're planning ahead. And it really does start with getting the right hydration and protein in the morning. So for all of you busy people in here, you wanna nail that protein in the morning so that you're satiated, so your blood sugar is stable, so that you're not having this all day long. And if you didn't do it this morning, there are some good protein sources in the expo, but let's plan ahead. I just really think it's all about the planning and being strategic with what's coming ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you are a menopause expert. Yeah.
True.
Tell us a little bit more about what inspired you to get into that, and are there any, specific key tips for women or men that we might want to know about?
Well, menopause is certainly a hot topic right now, both for women and men. So guys, you don't have to look at your phones, you can hear this too. This is such a hot topic because it's affecting every woman should she make it to that stage. And also, if you look at how many thousands of women are entering into menopause every day, we need support. There needs to be a lot more research done on how we can best help women. We know from a health perspective, the way that you eat, the way that you move, the way that you sleep, the way that you're taking care of yourself is very, very important, but we can also take that into our businesses as well. And there are great organizations out there right now who are helping businesses learn how to support women better and what they can do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, certainly thank you for all of your contributions and being a badass yourself. So you can find out more about Heather at heatheryanceyfitness.com. Thank you for providing all your feedback to her. And one more time, let's give it up for Heather Yancey. All right, folks, our next speaker is someone who knows how to turn even the most complex ideas into stories that stick. And trust me, he has got some stories of his own. Brad Cochrane is a former executive producer for Microsoft Events. He spent years behind the camera and behind the curtain, crafting powerful narratives for global audiences. He is an Emmy-nominated producer, certified trainer, and TEDx speaker coach. Today, he's sharing the Story Wheel, a game-changing tool that helps you take your audience from here to there, while making your point unforgettable. So get ready to sharpen your storytelling skills and make your message stick. And help me, please give a thunderous round of applause to Brad Cochrane. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you. When I was a tyke, I got a blue bike. It had training wheels. I'm a big kid. And then I tilted to the left. Uh-oh. And then I tilted to the right. And the family beagle was barking, "Rup, rup, rup, rup." This wasn't at all like my tricycle, because I knew that I was a good bike rider. Somebody yelled, "Pedal," and I did, barely missing the dog. Turn, and I did, into a mud puddle, spraying mud all over the dog. Poor dog. And then I fell over. Poor me. Well, this was not at all working. These trainers were just getting in the way. Luckily, though, I had a tool. A simple wrench, simple enough for a 4-year-old to use. I removed those trainers, and before you know it, I was riding free and happy and having the best time. Your career success depends on communication. Communicate well, and the world opens up to you. Communicate poorly, and you stall. You want to soar, because that's how you get the promotions, the raise, and everything that you deserve. Storytelling is key, because our brains are wired for story. It's how we learn, how we understand, and how we remember. But here's the problem. Storytelling is hard. Coming up with something is complex. But if we learn how to tell stories, the world opens up to us. Now, here's the one thing that you need to know right now that will get you rolling. It's the story wheel. And the story wheel spins in order to generate a story quickly. Starts with all good. Hey, everything's fine. Everything is predictable, normal. Oh, shift. The world wobbles and nothing is ever the same. Wishback. Humans want to reverse time. 7 seconds or 7 years. But the wheel turns on, so we try the approaches we've always done, and we end up running in place. But none of them work, and we're almost about to give up when, eureka, that unexpected insight, that innovation, and we use that to solve our shift problem, and we restorify the world, and it's better than it was before. The lesson we've learned makes us wiser. A moral is the difference between a story and a mere anecdote. I'm going to teach you right now how to write a story quicker than you can finish your double decaf latte with extra cream, no sugar. Very simple. A simple paper plate. You add the story wheel sticker, and you write your story. What could be simpler? In fact, it's so simple that I have story wheels right here. Who wants a story wheel? All right, right here. Who about over here? You want a story wheel? Who wants a story wheel over here? Did I get it to you? Yes, she's got the story wheel. Fantastic. A story can open up all kinds of messaging for you. It's so cool. You can use it for a sales script that keeps your company afloat. Maybe you could introduce a new product, or maybe you could use it to create an event report for your just finished event. Say the annual Tool Association meeting. All right, you've collected all the data, all the KPIs. What do you do with all of this information? How do you make sense of it? Well, you create a long report. Add statistics, data to make it sound scientific. Polish it off with clever writing and fantastic visuals, And if you're stuck, take your chances on ChatGPT. That always works, right? So you're not making a connection, though, with your client. Why? Because there's too much information in the world. If you don't believe that, I will send you another email about that, okay? No, there's too much information. The brain can't handle any more data noise. The fact channel is full. Your job is to encourage your reader to read what you've written. Using qualitative context can help you explain all that quantitative data. So, instead of starting your long report with an abstract, replace that with a summary, story-based. It's the way into your client's brain. Invite them into your world. Let's talk about the tool association meeting again. By the way, this story is based on a real occurrence because I was there. So, all good. The tool association meeting in Houston is coming up in a few weeks. Everything is set. Yay! Oh, shift! A hurricane rolls by and it floods our low-lying venue. Wishback. You know, the client still wants a great event. Run in place. Well, what can we do? Oh, we could go to another city. We could go completely virtual, or we could delay the meeting. None of those are really appealing. Eureka. You know what? Maybe some other events panicked over the hurricane. Have any venues opened up? Restorify. An upscale hotel has offered their space at a reduced rate. Attendees love the intimate setting, and satisfaction scores are high. Wiser. Putting on an event is 20% planning and 80% adapting. If you want to be remembered, the story wheel is the quickest way to get there. A story makes your message and the messenger memorable, no matter what the message is. Remember my blue bike? First lesson I learned is that if you don't pedal, you'll fall over. The second lesson I learned, the point of riding a bike is to get from here to there. That's what the wheel is for, and that's what a story is for. But you need the right tool. Ready? Let's go.
Give it up for Brad Cochrane. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Yeah. That was fun. All right, so take out your phones, scan the QR code. Remember, this is your opportunity to provide feedback for Brad. And as speakers, we all want that good feedback. So please just answer a few questions, and you can fill out a very personalized comment that Brad will take to heart.
I will take it to heart,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Might even put it on his website.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The bad comments I'll put on your website. Is that okay?
Well, no.
We'll talk about that later. Okay.
So, Brad, how do you help someone define their signature story? Like we all have a story in us, but how do we define the signature story? What's the one we should tell? How do we figure that out?
Well, first of all, it's recognizing what the O shift is. If you're a salesperson, you think the O shift is, oh, I need to increase sales. No, that's why you were hired. Mm-hmm. The O shift is when the competitor introduces a fantastic product that's 10 times better than yours. You go to the other end, and it's that eureka moment. And this is the hardest part to find. We want to find that unexpected insight, because if we find that in ourselves, that's what becomes the defining thing for us that separates us from everyone else.
Okay. And is it good to build a story around a moment or a feeling, or what's the initial spark of inspiration? Where should we start?
Yes. Basically, start with where you are. With the story, well, you don't have to start at number one. In fact, I recommend two things: discovering what the real O shift is and finding that innovative moment. Or, even better, start with a lesson, a moral, a Aesop's fable, right? The insurance industry is based on the ant and the grasshopper because it means be prepared. find that moral for you, and then build from there.
Amazing. All right. Well, you can find out more about Brad at thestorywheel.net. And not only that, he has a very special gift for you here in person today. So as a reminder, afterwards, we will all be standing at these tables. You can come up and speak specifically with Brad, and he'll be giving away
My Story Wheel sticker.
That's
Now, you
right.
have to supply your own, they have to supply their own paper plate,
Okay.
but you put the sticker on, and I guarantee you it's going to get you started on your great story.
It's a great framework to work from. All right. Thank you, Brad. Give
Thank
it up
you.
for Brad one more time.
Thank you so much.
All right, our next speaker knows what it means to defy expectations, break barriers, and build a legacy that lasts for generations. Dana Frank leads a third-generation family apartment rental business, an empire built from grit, vision, and an unshakable belief in possibility. When her father, at the age of 18, purchased his first investment property in 1950 during segregation and Jim Crow, he set a course that would defy redlining, systemic barriers, and financial limitations. For 19 consecutive years, her parents acquired properties without any bank funding. And today, Dana is carrying that legacy forward with her own children. Her story is so powerful that it became a national best-selling book, Get Up and Get On It, a Black entrepreneur's lessons on creating legacy and wealth. And today, she's here to show you how to shift your mindset, take bold action, and become a fire starter. Fire starters don't just follow the narrative, they change it. So let's light that fire and give it up for Dana Frank.
Speak your truth. Today I'm going to talk about something I'm extremely passionate about, and that is the fact that any of us can change the narrative despite what society and our birth circumstances may have dictated. Too many of us are told no. We're told no, not based on our talent, our ability, or our potential. We're told no because of our color, our race, our age, perhaps a pronoun we go by, a disability we might have, or even our family's social or economic status. I call individuals that don't accept no fire starters. And as I read this poem from my best-selling book, Get Up and Get On It, Black Entrepreneurs' Lessons on Creating Legacy and Wealth, I invite you to think about the fire starter in your own family. Who was the first person to pick up the baton and start the relay for change by not accepting no? Here's the poem. A fire starter is born with passion, drive, and vision. They don't accept the narrative at birth which they were given. The life of living paycheck to paycheck and barely getting by, waiting to collect Social Security when their time comes to die. Fire starters aren't born with a silver spoon or a trust fund, but they refuse to be invisible and have their dreams shunned. They amplify injustice, speak out, and protest the unfair, so that the marginalized and those left out of the script will also get their share. Fire starters know better than to settle for less and follow the masses. I witness this tenacity, grit, and grind from behind my father's glasses. My mama's DNA, it's a gumbo of beauty and class. She's wise, determined, and strong. My parents have been my best teachers, giving me lessons I was blessed to receive, and now so very blessed to pass along. They taught me success only comes before work in the dictionary, and if you don't try, you have no one else to blame. At the end of your journey, ask yourself, what will be your legacy, and how bright will be your flame? Thank you. Thank you. It's 1950, and my father comes of age in his hometown of Detroit, Michigan. His options are limited because it's a time of segregation and Jim Crow laws. Now, history books have taught us that Jim Crow laws are separate but equal, but my father knew there was nothing equal about the color of his skin, dictating where he could eat, where he could sleep, where he could work, and where he could thrive. My grandfather, he was a sweet, soft-spoken man from the South, and he warned my father. He said, "Son, I need you to stay in your own lane. This is just the way it is. Why don't you get one of those good jobs at Chrysler or Ford? Did you hear they're hiring?" My father looked at his peers and his friends that were getting up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, exhausted, putting in a double shift on the assembly line, and coming home at the end of 2 weeks with barely enough of a paycheck to put a decent meal on the table. This was not the future my fire starter father envisioned. He was a budding drummer. So he packed his van with his dreams and his drums. And even though he needed this green book, the Negro's Traveler's Guide, to tell him where his green dollars would allow him to sleep safely for the night, he arrived here in the Pacific Northwest. And when he saw this beautiful landscape so many of us are so fortunate to call home, Mount Rainier and the Olympics and Puget Sound and Lake Washington, he said, "I'm going to get busy." He enrolled in classes at the University of Washington, and he lied about his age and went to work in Seattle's vibrant jazz nightclubs. And on weeks when money was tight and work was tighter, he created his own work, and he'd go downtown and wash windows on department stores and office buildings. And even though he hadn't been hired, once the work was done, management often felt obligated to pay. One night on a break from the bandstand, my father made an improbable decision that changed not only his life, but our lives and generations to come. He purchased his first investment property. He struck a deal with a patron in the nightclub. And when Daddy told the man, "I want to buy your house," the guy said, "Are you kidding? You're just a poor black kid." My father leaned in. He goes, "I may be black, I may be broke, but I'm not broken." And he structured a deal and bought that house by working off the down payment. And in order to make the $48 monthly note in 1950, my father, long before Airbnb was even a consideration, rented out rooms to his fellow students at the University of Washington, because fire starters are visionaries. In 1954, my father was once again playing drums, this time at a local beauty contest called Miss Bronze. And when this stunner hit the stage in her one-piece white swimsuit and gold-high heels, my parents became partners because fire starters recognize fire starters. You see, my mother was born the second of 8 to a family on welfare. So she had known at an early age that she had to help support her family of birth. And she came together with that energy, and my parents continued to purchase a property every year for 19 years without any bank funding due to redlining, a practice of banks not allowing funding in Black and brown communities. So today, I stand before you as the proud fire starter, the proud steward of a now third-generation family business, started by my parents not accepting no. And people often say, "How did you beat the odds to bring this business that only 12% make it to the third generation?" And I share because I come from a long line of fire starters. My grandmother was a maid, my grandfather was a carpenter, but they raised my uncle, a federal judge who's handled some of our most notorious cases, including the Green River murder. They gave birth to my aunt, the first African-American flight attendant that Alaska Airlines would hire and retire. You've heard the story of my mother. At 92, my book's called Get Up and Get On It because she still does every day. But most famously is my late uncle, Quincy Jones. And he left us with this: "Not 1 ounce of my self-worth is dependent on your acceptance of me." So today I leave you with become a fire starter. And when you ignite that flame, make it blaze so bright that you leave a trail for generations to follow. Thank you.
Woo. Give it up for Dana Frank. That was amazing. Thank you, dear. Yeah. So now is the time to pull out your phones, scan the QR code, and give your feedback for Dana Frank. Answer those few questions and give her a comment. I'm sure she would love to hear what you got out of today's talk here. So Dana, you just mentioned that your uncle was the late Quincy Jones. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with your uncle. Like, what were some of the amazing things that you learned from him?
Well, I'm here with my sister, Tracy, and Tracy and I have been very fortunate to travel the world with my uncle. I mean, we went to Montreux for his jazz festival. I sat to dinners with Nelson Mandela, and my uncle taught us so much about philanthropy, about the need to give, and every time we'd hang up the phone, he'd say, "YOLO Coco, baby. You only live once, so keep on keeping on."
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, and so you've written an award-winning book, and you've also won many other awards, including, I think just last year alone, you got 3 prestigious awards, including Outstanding Mother of the Year by the American Lung Association, On the Shoulders of Giants, and the Hometown Hero Award by Mopop. Tell us a little bit about, like, what's your favorite award, or what's like the Standing on the Shoulders of Giants? What's that about?
Well, my favorite award is Outstanding Mother. My daughter's here,
Okay.
Taryn.
Aw.
And, my kids and legacy means so much to me. I always say kids didn't come here, so it's our obligation to, leave that legacy. So I'm super proud of being a parent, and I just became a grandmother, so that's thrilling. My On the Shoulders of Giants award, it's just about the philanthropic work that I've done in the community. I always say you can't receive with a clenched fist, and there's so much need, especially in these times, that we have to give back.
Yeah. Well, you are an incredibly active speaker. I see you out, I see all of your LinkedIn posts. You're out speaking all of the time. You're very active on LinkedIn, sharing your story, and you have such an incredibly profound story. Thank you so much for bringing that here to us today. And after we're done here, Dana is giving away copies of, would you like to tell them?
Yeah, I've got bookmarkers with a copy of the Firestarter poem on the back of all of those, and I'm happy to give away a copy of my book. I think the best way to do it is to say anybody whose birthday is nearest to today is the winner. So, if you
Who has the closest birthday? Who has a birthday coming up?
All right.
Bill.
Awesome. Okay, you got a book coming. Thank you again, everybody.
All right, give it up for Dana one more time.
You're the best.
Thank you. Oh, you guys are in for a real treat. Our next and last speaker is our keynote speaker from today. So everyone else spoke for 7 minutes, but we have our keynote segment, which is a whole 15 minutes, which in this format is basically the equivalent of a Netflix special. Ana Laiada is one of the coolest people I know, and I say that with all sincerity. She is eloquent, she is hilarious, and most importantly, she helps us understand each other better. She is an award-winning speaker and author of the best-selling book, Unlocking Generational Codes. She spent her entire career helping leaders decode the complexities of communicating and collaborating across generations. Her work has impacted companies like Amazon, Microsoft, the NBA, and Bloomberg, and has helped thousands of leaders attract growth and retain top talent from every generation. She's the youngest girl of 19 siblings. 19 siblings in her family. Yes, you heard that right. So her insights into generational dynamics are both researched and personally lived. Her family spans 6 living generations. And her upbringing gave her a front row seat to everything from traditionalist to Gen Z, all under one roof. That's incredible. Ana has served on 53 nonprofit education and corporate boards. Could you imagine? 53? She's a former president of the National Speakers Association and a past president, not just of our local chapter, but also our national chapter, which is a really huge deal. And that has a community of over 3,500 professional speakers. She holds the prestigious Certified Speaking Professional designation and was inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame. This is an honor that is held by only 1% of all speakers worldwide. Her work is more relevant now than ever. With 5 generations in the workforce, hybrid environments, and shifting societal expectations, understanding how to connect across age groups isn't just a nice to have, it's mission critical for any leader who wants to succeed today and tomorrow. So please get ready to laugh, learn, and lean into new insights that will transform how you lead. And give it up for the one and only Ana Laiada.
For 10 years, I lived a 2-minute walk from the Amazon headquarters right here in Seattle. And every morning, I would get on my elevator, and I would turn to the person next to me, and I would start a conversation, because I'm from a small town. But the conversation that I started showed you I was from the US, because I would say, "So, what do you do?" Now, over the course of those 10 years, I started to notice 3 trends arise. The first trend went like this. "I work at Amazon, bright sparkles." "Oh," I'd say, "you've worked there about 2 to 3 weeks?" And they would say, "How did you know?" The second trend went like this. "I work at Amazon." "Oh, you've been there about 2 to 3 months?" And they'd say, "How did you know?" And the third trend went like this. "I currently work at Amazon." "Oh, you've been there 6 months." And they would say, "How did you know?" This has been a phenomenon happening across our organizations, and frankly, a crisis happening across our organizations, that at 2 to 3 weeks, we go bright sparkle. By 6 months, we're dropping the code word currently. Because long before the pandemic, we started to have a shift in the generational codes and the expectations of what work is. So today, I'm going to talk to you about what are generational codes and how do they shape our actions and our reactions in the workspace today. Now, when I say generational codes, I mean something very specific. What we know from knowledge studies is that about age 7, our brains start to make logic. If this, then that. And between the ages of 8 all the way up to 25, we're watching the world around us. We're watching the leaders. We're watching the icons. We're watching the events. And when there's an event and it's paired with an emotion, it creates an imprint. The higher the emotion, the deeper the imprint. So when we want to understand a generation's code, their values, their attitudes, their beliefs, their motivators, we don't look at what's happening just right now. We actually look back at those formative events that happened between 8 all the way up to 25. And we look at what were those imprints that are shaping their actions and reactions today, like an algorithm running in the background. And what we want to be able to do is to pull those forward and begin to understand those different codes and all the things that play together. Let me give you an example from my own life. As you heard, one of 19, Catholic, for those of you doing the math. Yes, you were sitting there, I know it, there was math going on. And I'll tell you a little bit of the story in our time. My mom married her high school sweetheart when she was 16. And by the time she was 28 years old, is anybody close to 28 right now? Or know somebody close to 28? Okay, by the time she was 28 years old, she'd had the first 10 kids. Exactly. I'm always glad people are sitting down when I say that. Now, it is not contagious, I promise. But on her way to 28, her husband, who had been her high school sweetheart, they didn't know it, but he had a congenital heart issue. So at 28 years old, he was 30, he had a heart attack and died, so she was widowed at 28 with 10 kids. Now, my mom partners up with her brother-in-law, because her husband was the oldest of 13, and moves over to Spokane, Washington from Montana, where she was living. And they get all involved in the local cathedral parish school, and all these priests and nuns watch over this nice young widow. Meanwhile, my dad, I'm not one of the first 10, grew up in Boston, in the North End, the Sicilian section, and he moved out here after World War II to become a golf pro. So one day, the priests from her parish were playing golf with the priest from Pullman, and afterwards they were having some wine like you had last night, and had a little bit of food, and they were doing networking, and they were catching up. They were solving problems. And they said, "Okay, we've got a big problem." And the priest from my dad's parish said, "What is it?" They said, "Well, we've got this widow, and we need to find her a husband." Now, this is when you need to know your audience, because they said, "Well, what's wrong with her?" And they said, "Nothing's wrong with her. She's got 10 kids. And who in their right mind is going to marry a widow with 10 kids? But what they didn't know is that for years, my father had said, "I'm never going to get married. I'm 44 years old, confirmed bachelor, unless I meet a nice young widow with at least 8 kids. Be careful what you say, because some call your bluff. So they did. They wrote him a letter. Dear Mr. Layata, we have a nice young widow in our church we think you might like to meet. Now, here's where you need to know the audience. Here's the catch. She has 10 kids, and we know that 10 is a high score in golf, but her last name is Bird, so really all the kids are little birdies, exactly, which we think makes up for it. Now, my dad got this letter, and he calls the priest up, and he goes, hi, I'm Alayat. I got the letter about the widow. Now, what are we doing right here? We're having a generational moment, because look at my phone, right? Depending on the audience, they won't know what that is. And the priest says, great, are you interested? He said, okay, because what we didn't know is that the week before, in his evening prayers, he had said, okay, God, I'm ready to get married. And a week later, a letter from a priest shows up, and he was like, all right. So they say, great, pick her up Friday, 7 o'clock. And then they called my mother, who knew nothing about this. And they tell her, Jody, we've got this nice Sicilian bachelor we want to introduce you to. And she says, oh, no, Father, thank you. I'm not dating. I'm just too newly widowed. So they call my dad back. Everything's set. Pick her up Friday, 7 o'clock. Never take the first no in sales, right? And so my dad drives up in his Cadillac convertible expecting to pick her up. Well, she doesn't know he's coming, so all 10 kids are there. She comes to the front door, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, but I have all the kids with me. And being a naive bachelor, he says, no problem. We'll just take the kids with us. So they piled all 10 children into his Cadillac convertible, pre-seatbelts, and they go off to the local burger joint. At the end of the night, Mom's putting the kids to bed thinking, I'm never going to see him again. He hit the door by the time I got upstairs. But instead, she comes downstairs, and he's sitting on the couch. And she looks at him, and he says, so, will you marry me? She said, did you see those kids? They come with. This is a package deal. She said, at this point, I'm thinking he's either crazy or a godsend. I'm leaning towards crazy. I mean, come on. She said no. It took him 3 months to convince her. He finally convinced her, asked her every time they met. They got married at the Saturday evening mass. The kids preceded them into the church. A couple of years later, they had a little girl. A couple of years after that, they had an adorable little girl. I mean, look at this one. Can you just? Like that, exactly. Now, 8 years after this, along comes my younger brother, Charles. Oops, we like to call him. And when I'm just 10 years old, and he's 2 years old, my mom starts feeling not right. They go to the doc. They do all kinds of tests until they do a newfangled test called the CAT scan. Now, I grew up on a farm, so I thought, what's going to happen when a kitty cat walks on my mom, right? CAT scan. But they found it, the pancreatic cancer. And they said, oh, Jody, it's not good. And she called my dad to her bedside, and she said to him, listen, I don't expect you to live the rest of your life alone. I know what it's like to lose your life partner. And there's a perfectly wonderful widow right down the road from us. That was her very best friend in the world, Corinne, who had been married for many years. Her husband had passed. She had 6 kids. My mom passed within 2 months. And about a year and a half later, my dad and that perfectly wonderful widow were at a church social, began to visit, fell in love, and together celebrated 38 years of marriage. This is my dad and my bonus mom. I call her a bonus because she was such a gift to our family. She came with her GI generation codes, and she taught us so many things. And a couple years ago, we were making a lasagna for one of our family potlucks, because you can imagine, my brothers and sisters now have 68 children, and their children already have 81 children. So everything is a potluck, right? Everyone brings something. I know, exactly. This hall would be quite Sunday dinner. So we're making a lasagna. We take it off. I cover it in tinfoil. At the end of the night, I'm wiping down the now empty lasagna plate, and I look over at my sweet bonus mom, and what is she doing with the tinfoil? She's folding it. She's saving it. She's operating from her generational code, because when you look at her formative experiences, you see the Great Depression, World War II. So she was still having actions and reactions based on that. So what we want to do is be able to see those and recognize that they are algorithms, not ransomware. They can be updated and upgraded. Now, some of you might be asking the question, Anna, how many kids do you have? I had a puppy. This is my furry 4-legged babe. Her name's Golfing. So what we want you to be able to do as leaders is to be able to pause. Notice what code is running and be able to choose actively how you want to move forward in that. Because remember, algorithms, not ransomware. So here's our generations. You've got a handout on your page there, but you'll notice that this might have different beginning and ending dates than you've heard sometimes. And people always ask why. Depends on who you talk to. If you're talking to a historian, they'll say a generation begins and ends with a major world event. If you're talking to a social scientist, they'll say it's when the social mood shifts. And a demographer will say it's when the birth numbers shift. So if you're born 4 years before or after one of these, we call you a cusper. That may elucidate a lot of things for you. Oh, I'm on the cusp, the shift of it. So let's look at it, what it looks like in the workplace. Here's our codes in action. Our traditionalists came in, and it was all about being a worker, getting a job with a roof over your head, excellent, where you had loyalty to them and they had loyalty to you. And at the end of 30 years, firm handshake, and we move on. For our baby boomers, it wasn't just about being a worker. It was about being an employee. You get on with a company, there's 80 million baby boomers that are there. Everything is politics. You figure out the rules, you figure out the policies, you figure out the who and the what and the where, and you navigate your way through like a chess game, right? It's all a competition. It's all politics. Now, what happened, though, is this became our first generation of workaholics who sacrificed health and life on the altar of work because they had to get ahead of their peers, with both men and women both entering the workforce for the first time en masse. So then come our Gen Xers right after them, and in the 1980s, after seeing their parents complain bitterly about their boss and how much they hated their job but couldn't leave, they came home one night in the middle of the 80s recession with a little slip of paper. What color was it? Pink, exactly. And all of a sudden, that two-way loyalty was broken, and now we had a generation of Gen Xers as free agents. They said, I sign a contract, I work it hard, but I know if something cataclysmic happens, I need to be ready to scoop up my skill set and move on. So our Gen Xers do not identify as the company, they identify as the industry. In fact, here's a way to know who you're talking to, a little question, little test, little litmus test. You ask a baby boomer, what do you do? And they say, without knowing it and leaking their code, I work for. I work for Microsoft, I work for Boeing, I work for Amazon. They give you the employee code. You ask a Gen Xer, what do you do? And they say, I work in technology, I work in meetings, and they'll give you the industry. Now, as those codes are shifting, along come our millennials, and it's our first generation to have absolutely no expectation that they will stay with the company that they started with. And this is that shift that happens 2 weeks, 6 months, right? And so our millennials come in, and they're not just free agents, that's assumed. They are now talent. They're putting together a portfolio of work and experiences that they can scoop up and go anywhere with. This is where we go from workplace to workspace. It happened before the pandemic. The pandemic just accelerated what was already in motion with the millennials. And then come Gen Z. And they assume talent, they assume free agency, and they are influencers. They know the power of the follow. They know the power of being able to start a movement. As an archetype, they are artists and activists. And so they come in on day one, they expect to have a voice in the conversation. And then we've got Gen Alpha. Now they're still being born and they are not all in the workforce yet, but they are creators. Think of them online every single day. Their lives are content creation. Now you can ask whether that is an opportunity or an exploitation. That would be in a longer speech. But this is our generation of alphas, and they are going to have a huge impact as well. So what does it mean when we talk about what we want from our leaders, okay? Let's look at it through the codes this way. Our traditionalists had a boss. A boss can yell at you, they can dress you down, they can embarrass you, they can put you into fight or flight. And that was accepted because that's the way it was, right out of the military. For our baby boomers that came along, and now it wasn't just about a boss, it was a manager. So they moved the chess pieces across the board, but it was all about strategy, all about efficiency, all about what was best for the company. And then in come Gen Xers. Now let's be honest, there were only 44 million, so companies weren't really paying that much attention because there was all these beautiful workaholic baby boomers that were just filling the workforce already. But Gen Xers came in. It's the first time we started talking about a coach, starting to develop the whole person. What would be best for this person? How would we get the best out of you? And then came our millennials and baby boomer parents who had their second wave family or their do-over kids when they got divorced and started a new one. We're all involved in their millennials' lives. And so we now saw our millennials not just as somebody that was there, but we were going to mentor them. We were going to cheer for them. We were going to be part of their life. And so this development of a whole person and a whole sense of self became really important. And then come our Gen Zs, and they assume mentorship and coach. But what they're looking for now is a guide. And not just a guide who's there asking questions, but a guide who's on the side and on their side. Because as we look at what are the key skills that we're going to need, we need somebody who will ask you the question, not give you the answer or the directive or say, this is how it's going to be done. No questions asked. From day one, week one, they want to be involved in the conversation. Now, the interesting thing is, when we look at how we are going to engage this into our workplace, we see that in Leadership 1.0, a few people used to have all the answers. Traditionalists and boomers, they'd go away, they'd have the answers, they'd come back, and we call that Leadership 1.0. But today, the real leadership is being able to ask the questions of the many and make those questions engaging and generative. And that moves us into Leadership 3.0, where on day one, week one, no matter where we are in our planning of a meeting, in our planning of our team productivity, we're asking the questions of everyone and bringing their voice into the conversation. Now, there are things that our baby boomers dreamed of, like work-life balance. That is not a new thing. But our Gen Xers desired it, but there were 80 million boomers. And our millennials were raised to know they could demand it, and our Gen Z know that they deserve it. So when we do something that works for Gen Z, it's an upward virtuous cycle, because when it works for them, it works all the way up. So as we look across organizations and look at what we have in common that we all have a desire to feel seen, to feel heard, and to feel appreciated. I work with my companies and leaders on the Shaw factor. How are you bringing the Shaw factor of seen, heard, and appreciated into every meeting, into every conversation, and into every moment, such that you become not a destination workplace, but an incubator possible in human potential workplace. Thank you so much.
Woo! Give it up for Ana Layata. Hey.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Let's shake hands. Oh, so did you guys get immense value out of Ana's talk here? I mean, every time I hear you talk, I'm always so amazed and so impressed, and I learn something new every single time, and it just reminds me how to interact and engage with different generations, which, I mean, we all need more of, right? You have to think about, it's not just from my perspective, but who am I talking to, and how can I translate my language so that my message actually lands with them?
Yeah.
So if this landed with you, please take out your phone, scan this QR code, and give the feedback that you would like Ana to have.
Excellent.
I'm sure that she will appreciate anything that you have to offer, and you can leave a special comment for her. Actually, when you scan that, you'll have an opportunity to check a box where they get to download a free executive guide, correct?
Yes, so I today set up a little special thing where I put my book it's on Amazon, so I put it on sale for 99 cents today, so that you could go in there. And when you grab it, if you want to grab a copy of it for 99 cents, when you're going through the Talkadot, at the end just say, click, I grabbed the 99-cent book, and I'll know that you want me to send you a free gift, an executive gift that goes deeper into the generational codes than we had time for today. Ooh. It's really fabulous.
Well, I'm going to go scan the code,
yeah,
because
exactly.
I want to download it too.
It's a cool download, I promise you. This is generally what I give to my executive team, so
nice.
There you go.
Okay.
Just for you.
Amazing. So in our workplace, we have so many different generations present. You talk about generational codes. What do you see as the biggest emerging generational code that maybe our top leaders have not really identified yet, and how do we overcome that gap?
Yeah. Okay. So I talk about generational codes. My new book coming out this summer also incorporates neuro modes. So the big trend is the expectation of our Gen Z and our millennials too, that their leaders have neuro fluency in understanding how to be self-regulated. So we go, the boss that can scream at you. Now, our Gen Z and our millennials are expecting to feel psychologically safe at work. And that's that whole seen, heard, and appreciated piece that we bring into it. I work with leaders to see how do you actually measure that and how do you give those opportunities for voices to come in. We do what we call solution sprints, where after they do a shop survey, we look at all the suggestions and we put together innovation teams and we do sprints so that people do that, but we have to do it in a way that they feel like it's safe to do it. So that psychological safety is the biggest thing that once might have been a nice to have, now it's table stakes.
Oh my gosh. And how do you feel that AI is impacting all of the generational codes and each of the generations that are present?
Okay, this is such a good one. AI has swung the pendulum into the high-tech space. What that means is that we are not getting as much high-touch or high-connect moments, and so now we have to actually go back to what we think people received in their schooling and in their home, and we're actually having to teach those high-connect moments so that people feel seen, heard, and appreciated, but real. Because if we don't teach our leaders how to have, and actually if you can hit the point there, I was going to give you one more thing. Oh, nope. Okay.
It is actually right back here. It's here. This one, right? Or
one more back.
One more back. There we go.
Oh, no.
No, one more back.
I was going to give them a bonus. This.
Okay.
So this is one of the things that I teach to my clients is the 10-10-10. So the first 10 minutes, at least once a month as a leader, you sit down and you have a conversation with them in an interview format where you're asking, what's up? What are you excited about? What's lighting you up? And you listen. But leaders have to learn how to be regulated and listen. Then we have the second 10 minutes, which is about being the guide. Now you're reflecting back to them. Here's what I heard. Here's what I appreciate. Here's what I was seeing possible. But the last 10 minutes is what most don't do, and that's the future career mapping conversation. Here's the resources inside our organization. Here's how you could be part of the event. Here's where we could see your next piece come. Every single month, if you sit down and have a conversation with them, they will stay with you longer, not because this is the final destination, the only option they have, but because you continue to incubate the potential of their future, and that's what they want from their leaders.
Woo. I wish I would have had that when I was working in corporate.
Right?
I would have loved to have that kind of leader.
And you know what, that's such a good point, because a lot of times boomers and Gen Xers too will say, no one did that for me, why should I do that for you? And I'm like, that is just not gonna get you where you wanna go. I was sitting on a flight out to DC recently with an Amazon exec, and he's in charge of about 12,000 people in his space. And he goes, I've had to change more in the last 10 years of leadership than I ever thought I would, because this new code absolutely works for all, but we have to be willing to shift into
That's the world we live in, is just rapid fire change now.
That's right.
Yeah.
And high tech means high connect.
Oh, well, as a reminder, Anna has that special gift for you today. You can download the book for 99 cents. And if you would please give some feedback for her on Amazon as well.
Oh, yes,
as
please.
Speakers and authors, we really appreciate the market feedback, and it helps us continue to get our message out. So
yes, it is just it's good karma to leave a review on Amazon.
It is, it really is.
It is, it comes back to you in so many ways. Please,
10 times fold. Well, give it up one more time for Anna Layata. Thank you. All right, so we have one last special treat for you here today. Our keynote speaker from yesterday is about to come to the stage. So not only is he a keynote speaker, he's also an event producer, and he is the president of the Northwest National Speaker Association. So please give it up for Mr. Virtual Meetings himself, John Chen.
What's up, Northwest? Hey, thank you, everybody. Oh my gosh. Let me just tell you, as the president for this NSA Northwest chapter, we are a 2-time elite chapter, the highest ranking of all the chapters that exist. You have a resource. You got a friend in the business. You've gotten to see 10 of our 105 speakers. And I'm so excited that each of you are here today. And what I'm most excited about is this person. Hey, did she do a great job today?
Thank you.
Because not only is she the MC for this, she was the planner. Yeah, ooh, that's right, I heard that. All right, and she's, while she's not one of you yet, she knows intimately what it's like now to be a planner. And so what I want you to do, and by the way, we're a volunteer organization like many of our associations, MPI, ILEA, NACE. In this moment, it's your turn. Now please pick up your phone, turn on your camera, scan this code, and this is for her, right? And what I want to see is the highest number of all the high people, because, right, did you learn something valuable from Sonia today? If you did, say yes. Take this moment now and write her. Tell her the things that she did great, right? Every sound cue. You should see the amount of planning. By the way, notice these cue cards, right? We took these from Jimmy Fallon, right? They're branded. All these small details are the things that great MCs like Devin, right, like you, like others do to make your meeting great. They're the ones who will smooth everything out. They're the ones who bring energy in between your sessions. And so this is one of the things that you can share with her what you loved. And the other part is this. We're serious. Sonia is so serious about this. We are all aspiring to be better MCs and speakers. And when you give us ideas, we want to know how we could make it better for you. So just think about one idea, right? That she gets a bigger budget for her Barbie video. Or, right? Or something else, whatever
How about
it
a
is.
bigger budget for my wardrobe?
Okay, a bigger budget for her. We all want that, right? So think about those ideas and see if you can give them to her, because if she uses one of them, she's going to do something great for you. Great. Might prop you on stage, hit you on social media. Not hit, but, prop on social.
Thank you.
Thank you on social media. So anyways, take a moment to do that. And while you finish that up, right, we're going to get some more insights from our good friend, Sonia. Sonia.
We're running out of time.
Oh, yeah. I have all the time in the world to tell you how proud I am of you. How much work I've seen you do. That when you sometimes said no, like many of us meeting planners do, going, I can't do that. That you said yes. And you said not yes to one thing. You said yes to all the things. And that says worlds to you. When you say infinite leaders, that's what it means to me. That I know that I could give you any assignment, I probably won't, that I know you can. And I'm so proud to call you my colleague and my friend.
Oh, thank you, John. Oh. Well, it's been such a pleasure working with John and with all of the speakers. I really have had just a huge learning process throughout all of this, and I've gotten really connected with our community. And, we are here with the National Speaker Association, our Northwest chapter, and we like to invite all of you to come and participate with us. This is a really wonderful opportunity for partnership across, cross-collaboration across many different types of professional associations. So why should people from the meeting industry come and participate with us?
Oh, how many of you are speakers in the room? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Oh, geez, right? If you're in another industry and not yet a member of National Speakers Associations, we're going to help you do two things. We're going to help you be a better speaker. And for those who want to, you can make this a business. And by the way, it's a really good business. It is one of the funnest businesses you could ever have. National Speakers Association does that and can do that for you. By the way, we also have in our booth a code for free. You could visit us for free. Just check us out and then make your decision.
Yeah, we have many upcoming meetings, and we do in-person and virtual. And because of Mr. Virtual Meetings himself, most of our meetings are all virtual. So even if you're not here in Seattle, and our meetings, when we meet in person, we usually meet on Mercer Island, although we do have a couple venues that we use now.
Because we got the shout out, Stoneway Auto is in the house somewhere. They sponsored us.
Oh, that's so
Thank you
cool.
so much.
Yeah, we're starting to collaborate with other venues. So if you have places that you want to help host us, we would love to partner with you in that way.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're about to come to a close here. And just as a reminder, all of our speakers are going to come up and take place at one of these tables here. So please come up and engage with us. We really do want to connect with you. We want to collaborate with you. So please come on up. Many of us have books that we're going to be giving away. And there are many, many, many more speakers in our network. So if you would like to connect with us or connect with anyone in our network, That box to drop your business card in is right by the door over there, so just drop your card in that box. Myself or someone else in our network will reach out and have a consultation with you, see what we can do to help partner with you on any upcoming meetings that you may have. So at this time, I'd like to invite Anna Layada up. She's going to be at this table right here in front, and she has lots of goodies to share with you and give away. And then next up, we have Don Crawley, who will be at this table far over here.
SP.
CSP, Certified Professional Speaker. Then we have Heather Yancey, who will be at the second table right here.
The fittest speaker you'll ever know.
And then we have Brad Cochrane. Brad, you're actually going to be at this table right here. Yep, you're going to be at this table right here. I will be at this far table right over here. John will be in the back. He already has all his books set up, and he would love to give you a book. And then we also have Bruce, who is one of our really powerful speakers from yesterday, if you would like to take the second table in the back. And then we do have some other speakers here that were part of our initial showcase. So Menda Zetlin and Kelly Casper, if you guys would like to take a table, we have lots of speakers for you to come and have interesting conversations with.
You get a book, you get a book, and you get a book. Make sure and visit all the tables before you take off.